What's going on, everybody? I am your homegirl, Shay. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Queen's Lounge podcast. And of course, I have a dope interview with me today. This is Cousin. I love her so dearly. She's dope. She's always been solid. All through the years that we have been family, I'm going to bring her in and let her introduce herself. Ma'am, please let the people know who you are.
What's up, everybody? My name is Professor Toya Green. I am a professor in human communication studies at Cal State Fullerton here in Fullerton, California. I'm also the director of debate here at Titan Speech and Debate at Cal State Fullerton. I am also the owner of Higher Definition Leadership and Empowerment Coaching, which is a business dedicated to facilitating, coaching, and doing workshops for individuals, small groups, government agencies, corporations, community organizations, all emphasized on creating better leaders and people who are better equipped to really take whatever they're doing to the next level. So excited to talk to you, Shay. Definitely, we don't get enough time these days, especially with just talking about how much older we're getting, which means more responsibility, more moving and shaking. But it's always a blessing to be able to sit and rock with you anytime we get a chance to talk. So I'm just grateful to talk to you.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure to be able to interview you on today. I'm super excited to dive a little deeper into debating. Okay. So let's get into the questions. All right. So my first question I have for you is what's the difference between an argument and a debate? So because I know sometimes the lines can be blurred.
They can be. And arguments and debates are no pun intended, right? Considering our relationships with cousins, but they are not necessarily the same. When we think about arguments, we think about back and forth between individuals. I'm assuming that's the type of arguments you're talking about.
Correct. Yes.
Back and forth. But those are unique in that they don't really have a set beginning or ending. Mm-hmm. Right? They aren't really centered on a particular question. Oftentimes when you have arguments, we talking about the dishes being in the sink, but really we talking about feeling like we've been disrespected, which really we trying to connect to a line of a chain of disrespect that we've been waiting for a chance. Right. You know what I'm saying? So arguments really don't have what we call a scope and a scale. They're very broad. They're very fluid and flexible. They might deal with a whole bunch of things at one time. And because they don't really have a beginning, they don't necessarily have an ending. They don't necessarily have a middle, and they don't have a person to say, okay, I've heard enough. Here's the conclusion. This side is right. This side is wrong. This side was more persuasive. This side was less persuasive, whatever. In argument, you have all of those features. I'm sorry, in debate, rather, you have all of those features. We make arguments, which are very specific things that have forms. There's 6 different parts to an argument. There are 3 primary parts. There are 3 secondary parts that you can use to craft a number of arguments that can be introduced into a debate about a singular topic. Right? In debate, there are like rules, like you can't go out of here. You can't be untopical. You can't get off the top and stuff in. We have to argue within the scope of and the scale of one specific and singular idea. There is a clear line between what is affirming the idea and what is negating the idea. There's a set number of speeches, right? There now, and we'll talk about the different styles of debate, but the kind that I most typically do has 8 speeches in it. So you got 8 speeches.
That's a lot.
Everybody speaks twice. Everybody has a chance. And then at the end, a judge will come in and say, I rendered a decision. This is how I feel about the question at hand. You have won, you have lost. And so there's an end. Right, we've been in arguments that go on for months and years, and
absolutely,
we still haven't concluded them. Whereas a debate has a firm ending point where a decision is rendered based on what has been observed.
Awesome. So with your experience, and not only with your experience personally as a debater, but also with teaching students how to debate properly, what is a good way, or how do they prepare for a competition or a tournament when it comes to debating?
So, for my college students, right, they get a topic every year, right? For the style of debate that we do, we get one pretty broad topic that allows for us to talk about a multiplicity of things. And from there, we take that topic and come up with as many ways as possible to have inroads or have a solid conversation about whatever that topic or what we call a resolution is. So for example, this year was about the idea of personhood, legal personhood, right? So how in the context of the state, in the law, right? The federal government we have here, what does it identify as a person? And based on what it identifies as a person, on what level do we give that person rights? Or and in what ways do we give them duties? In other words, in what ways do we make them responsible by the law, like a duty to uphold the law? So we ask that question about things like AI, right? We know artificial intelligence is a big conversation right now.
It is.
AI personhood, because if we get AI personhood, that means it will have rights. But then like, okay, like we don't want to have AI something that humans created to have too many rights.
Exactly.
Then it starts to come at the expense of humans. But
Yeah.
then the question is also, should we give AI duties, right? Should we make AI something that could be culpable or responsible by law? So we've heard a lot of different spoof or prank phone calls being used by voices that are modified via AI, right? I can get an app right now and sound like Donald Trump or sound like Kanye West or sound like Kim K. And so the question becomes, should people be able to, if they get over on you using those technologies, should they be held to a duty by the standard of the law and be held accountable for manipulating their voice or using technology to mislead people, right? So the debates that we have are centered around those things. For example, many other things, but that's just one example. Sorry about that, but the many different conversations that the kids have, right? So from there, our students develop arguments. And the process of argument development is make the arguments first and then do the research second, right? The important process of argument making is, what do you have to say about a thing, right? What are you trying to get at? Make sure you flesh that out first, and then you go do the research to find other perspectives, other credible entities, other credible individuals who add some, to your argument, right? But the process of argument making and prepping for a tournament starts with a topic or a resolution. You figure out your angle or your approach to talking about that thing. You develop some arguments that you want to defend or create about that, and then you go do research, craft, organize your arguments. You set them up, and now it's time to have a debate.
Debating takes skill.
It does.
It absolutely does. Because I get up there and just be arguing, and I be having all kind of stuff put into it, and then everybody be lost.
And that's, I mean, a lot of people say, you always argue. You need to go join debate. What those students often learn, right? Because we get a lot of the talkative kids. I used to be the talkative kids. We get a lot of the combative kids. And what they soon learn is, if you always got something to say. But if you really want to be seen as credible, if you really want to be persuasive, you got to take a step back and look at this thing that we've been doing all our lives, right? I tell students all the time, argumentation will seem foreign to you as we break it down and explore it, because we giving stuff names and labels and titles and telling you how to do it. But we've been doing these things from your first cry. You've learned how to argue. You've been making arguments. You've been debating or working really to persuade somebody to do something that they weren't doing before. I need to feed you. I've offended you. I've upset you in some way that needs to be fixed. So we've been working since babies, persuading people to do something. To do something for us. Now, through argumentation and debate proper, we give you some more strategies, some more techniques, some more ways to make that exchange fair and to make it the most fruitful or productive that it could possibly be, as opposed to a shouting match or people cussing and fussing, or the other side of people just reading data and statistics and numbers at you. Like, I'm not persuaded by that. You have to package that and make it sound like something I should be interested. Period.
Absolutely. This is what makes you different from it just being a hobby, and this is what you do.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because the way you explain it, how intelligent you sound as you give me, like, I'm not a person that's a debater. I've been arguing all my life.
The whole thing.
But you know what I'm saying? But being an actual debater, a person that has to have the skill and the understanding and be able to convey what it is that you're trying to say to get your argument across to be understood, that's what sets you apart. Okay, because you know this. You know this.
I've had a lot of time. I'm really grateful for, growing up in Kansas City and being a student at Lincoln College Prep. Debate Kansas City, which is our urban debate league, which is a very unique and special thing that exists in urban city centers across the country, gives access of debate to Black and brown kids who otherwise wouldn't have it, right? Debate is typically what's called a country club activity. It's usually and historically set aside for private school kids, for rich and affluent kids who have the money for the coaching, for the resources to do the traveling, to go compete. And so organizations like Debate Kansas City make sure that your local public schools have access to coaching, have access to resources, have access to scholarship, have access to competitive opportunities that give them a chance to go and learn things that, the white kids or the suburban kids or the rich kids may have access to out the gate. And so I started debating in 10th grade, but for a lot of these kids these days, they get in the game in middle school, right? And I'm even advocating, and I've coached and taught students, because out here in California, I've been able to work with K through 12 students in speech and debate. I didn't talk to 4th and 5th graders that's ready to take your lunch money. You feel me? Like, they ready to talk to you about some things. All right.
My God.
It's real.
I love it though. I really, really love it. It's really, really dope. And I can definitely tell that you have a passion for it. You have a passion for the teaching, for the speech, for the debate. It's super, super dope. Now, my next question is, since we just talked about you all picking a topic to
Mhm.
discuss, to kind of pick apart, to kind of, go into detail about, is there a specific group, or you as the teacher by yourself pick the topic?
So we are a part of a nationwide community
Mm-hmm.
of universities that participate in debate. Same thing on the high school level, middle school, high school level too. So the way we come up with our topics from season to season, and this is interesting because we're actually in the middle of this process right now on the college level.
Okay.
Uh, at the end of each season, right after a topic has been debated, members of the debate community work together on what we call topic papers. So you can work with and group yourself with whoever you want to. Different universities work together, different students work together, different coaches and directors work together to write a series of papers that forward a new topic that they think is interesting for the community to talk about. And it's
Wow.
also important to understand too that the top we have what is called a topic rotation. So one year we'll talk about a domestic topic that only affects and pertains to things happening in the United States. Then we'll
Mm-hmm.
have an international topic the next year and rotate to that so that we're talking about international issues and debating about those. Then we'll
Wow.
rotate to a courts topic to talk specifically about what's happening on the legal and the legal framework. And then we'll rotate to any whatever paper is best just wins model, right?
Yeah.
So based on the topic rotation, everybody will write a paper. So right now we're in an international rotation. We're about to talk about an international topic. Last year we talked about a domestic topic. And so we have 5 different topic papers from 5 different groups of people across the community, right? Literally
Wow.
professors and students work together. Students can work together. All professors or directors can work together and coaches can work together. And they submit papers for the entire college population to read,
Debate
right?
about.
And I want to be clear, as opposed to sports, right? There is no D1, D2, D3. Everybody debates everybody in college debate. So I'm at Cal State Fullerton. We debate USC, we debate Harvard, we debate Northwestern, we debate the University
Yeah.
of Texas. We debate, you pick them.
Really?
If they have a debate program, everybody debates everybody, right?
Wow, that's what's
So
up.
this is just a whole bunch of scholars and very intelligent people working from these different institutions to come together to put some propositions on the table. From there, the slate of papers is released, and then every university gets a vote on which topic area they want to debate
Mhm.
about, right? We don't have a topic yet. We have topic areas. So like
Gotcha.
the Middle Eastern topic, there was a paper about economic sanction, international sanctions. There was a topic paper about nuclear weapons and nuclear warfare,
Mhm.
right? So we get general areas. And so
Okay.
recently we all voted as a community to talk about nuclear weapons next season, right? We're all going to talk about nuclear weapons. But over the course of the summer, now just to kind of go back to the timeline of things,
Mhm.
during the off season, we will get a slate of wordings for specific resolutions, like the specific kind of grand statement that we will defend
Yeah.
throughout the year. So in July, we'll come back and vote on the specific wording about nuclear weapons that we want to debate about. That'll get released. And then for the entire season of 2023 and 2024, we will be debating over some larger resolution that has something to do with nuclear weapons. So to answer the question, it's a collective effort that everybody can be a part of. Everybody's able to kind of vote from their institution and
Uh-huh.
vote on the topic. And then we debate that topic throughout the year, do it all again the next year.
That's tight.
Yeah.
I just want to be in a debate class because I just want to see how the flow of things go.
It's
Because the way
fun.
you explain it, I understand it, but then I also want to see it put in action. Because when I watch debates or like listen to people debate about certain topics or certain things, it's so interesting to me because I feel like sometimes both sides have really good arguments. So how do
I
you
mean,
make
and
a decision?
that's a sign of a really good debate topic. When you get
Yeah.
something that's not real narrow, or it's like obviously that, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
when you get a topic that everybody from both sides, because here's the thing about debate, and I want to be clear about it. When we get a topic, you don't just get to show up to a debate tournament like, I really agree with this statement. That's the only side I'm going to be on.
Yeah.
No, you get 8 rounds or 6 rounds. Half of them you will be affirmative, half of them you will be negative. You don't get to choose when, and you don't get to choose who your opponents are, right? So
Yeah.
you have to take this statement and be ready to debate it on both sides. You have to be able to affirm it whenever the paper says, whenever the parent says this is what you're doing right now, and then you have to be able to negate it whenever the paper says this is what side you're on in this debate. So you don't get to
Right.
choose. You just go in prepared to argue on both sides of that topic, which means you have to have a really good one so that you can do the research to have a hearty, healthy conversation.
Now, how many people are a part of the team?
That's great. That's a great question. So there are different styles of debate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And different styles of debate will determine how many people are participating in a debate at a time.
Okay.
Typically, you have 1-on-1, 2-on-2, or 3-on-3 styles of debate, right? There are different styles, but a debate can be 1-on-1, it can be 2-on-2, or it can be 3-on-3. The style of debate that I focus on and that I typically teach is 2-on-2 debate.
Okay.
I also coach for my middle school and high school students. I have students who do what's called Lincoln Douglas, and that's 1-on-1 debate. So Lincoln Douglas is 1-on-1, but then you have policy debate, which is what I do with my college students, and that's 2-on-2. You also have British parliamentary debate, which is, it can be 3-on-3. Don't fool with that. That's not my language. It's not my lane. But I do typically 1-on-1 and 2-on-2 debate. So it just kind of depends on the style that the person is participating in.
Oh, that's what's up. Now, when I have to remember how old we are because we don't look our age. So when you say professor, okay, put some respect on it. Okay, big P in the building.
You know,
when you say that and you say you teach college students, I have to think like cousin is in her. She 30 plus.
The numbers is getting big, but I'm
just saying.
And it's an interesting transition because for a long time, and I still kind of hold on to that. I was the cool teacher. You know what I'm saying? I'm the one. I teach in J's. I got these locks. I'll show up to work in the dashiki. Like, it's really not.
Period.
So we have a good time in the classroom, and I really try to embrace being myself and what that looks like. I'm not 45. I'm not 50. I am closer to your age, and I am far away from it. And I will admit, and here's something startling, Shay. We're no longer child. Check this out. This is hot off the press.
It's getting real.
Listen, we are no longer young adults. We just regular adults. It's not that disgusting.
So we had to drop the young part.
We just regular old, just grown people. We are not really young adults anymore. We are just adults. And that is very scary.
No, and it's so disappointing. It really is. Like, I have gotten to a point in my life where I had to drop the young part.
Yeah. We have to be honest. We have to let these other kids take their turn. You feel me?
You know what I mean? I guess we kind of got to move out the way.
We got to share.
But wait, if I'm still going by 30 plus, does that qualify me to still be in the young part?
No.
Like the young? Okay.
No. Because the survey says, the driver's license says, the birth certificate says everything we need to know. So we can't really go off your feelings. You know,
exactly. There's no
I think a lot of people in the roads, a lot of people outside say facts over feelings. You feel me? Shout out to Conscious Lee, my little brother. It's facts over feelings. You know what I'm saying? So we got to just kind of pull that off.
Yeah, and I'm still in the feelings part. I gotta work to the facts part. Because you're right. Everything that qualifies me to be on Earth, solidifies
you got a
my
child,
real age.
you got married, you got a full-time job. You further away from the youth ministry than you are.
Oh my God.
So
I'm not even in the young adult ministry no more.
Listen, you just a regular adult. You just
that hurts my heart. So when you say
I don't make the rules,
you teach like college students, I'm like, but cuz look like she in college herself. Like
I be blending, and I ain't tall. We're not tall people at all either. So but you know what's real though? I'm gonna be honest with y'all. We're gonna lean in and see if y'all can see them. The grades is giving me away.
I'm gonna zoom in the camera. It's popping up. It's popping up on the sides.
But I'm a silver fox. I'm turning into a silver fox. And so
that's what happens when you're 30 plus.
After a while, you can say what you want to, baby. Them grades not gonna lie to the kids
at all. No matter how much dye, no matter how much color you try to throw on it.
Nah.
No. So my next question is a two-parter. Okay.
What's up?
So the first part is, how long does a debate last? Mm-hmm. And how long does each side get to debate their argument?
Got you. So the average debate is about an hour and 45 minutes, a little bit closer to 2. There are 8 speeches, and I kind of alluded to that earlier. Each speaker speaks twice. Okay. Right. So in a debate, there are 8 speeches. We can separate the debates in sections. The first part of the debate are called the constructives. The root word there is to construct. So these arguments are used to build the arguments or build the cases. And all 4 speakers will get a chance to speak. Everybody gets a constructive, a 1A and a 2A, a 1N and a 2N, right? Those are the people, those are like the speakers. If you're affirmative, you're a 1 or a 2. If you're a neg, you're a 1 or a 2. And everybody will give a constructive 9-minute speech that helps to build the debate. The second half of debate, or the last 4 speeches of debate, are called the rebuttals, right? And the rebuttals, just like we kind of have heard from a court of law, to rebut is to refute or to go back against or push back. And so that is where you take the arguments that have been constructed and you start to compare them, you start to weigh them next to each other, you start to evaluate them, you start to dispute them or refute them, and everybody will get a chance to do that. And that happens for 6 minutes. So everybody gets a 9-minute speech at the beginning and a 6-minute speech toward the end. Okay. Right now, I won't get too much into the order of those things because it could get confusing, and it's not what you might expect, like back and forth. But all you need to know is that everybody gets 9 minutes to start, 6 minutes to end. And then another important feature of a debate that adds to that time, the overall time, is there are 4 cross-examinations. Mm-hmm. There are 4 3-minute time periods where the person who just spoke gets asked questions by the opposite side, right? So after each constructive, somebody from the other side asks you 3 minutes worth of questions that you have to answer. And then after they finish speaking, somebody from your side will go back and ask somebody from over there 3 minutes worth of questions about what they just said. So you do that. A lot of people get shook because they're like, oh, it's just all this talking back and forth. When do you ever get a chance to think? There's also something called prep time, right? Okay. Prep time is a 10-minute pocket of time that you get that you can use anytime throughout the debate. Right. So the only time you can't use your prep time is in the middle of somebody's speech. You also can't use prep time. Like if you're talking and you like forget, you just got to pull it together. Like, freeze prep time. Like, nah, baby, the timer is still going. Right. Figure out what you're going to say. You got 2 minutes. Right. So you'll have that. But anytime before you're about to speak, or if before you're about to ask questions, you can call for prep. And a running timer will be rolling, right? So you can start at 10 and stop it at 8:52, and then stop it again at 7:06, and then stop it again at 4 minutes, and then let it run. However, as long as it is your prep time to use. Okay. Right. That's cool. And then I think that answered both of your questions, right? Like, yes. How long is it, and when do people get to speak, and how do Correct. They like that? Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, so since there's 2 sides, there's an affirmed side. And then there's also a side that's, the negative side of it. Mm-hmm. Who gets to speak first?
That's a fair question. I like that you asked that because now you get into different styles of debate, honestly, right? So in policy debate, and in, I think, Lincoln Douglas debate, the affirmative always speaks first. Okay. But I think there are certain styles, because just like styles of dance, styles of talking. Yeah. Different regions got different roles and rules and stuff like that. So I think in Lincoln Douglas and public forum, there are opportunities for the negative to get the first speech. So if everybody knows what the topic is, right, it shouldn't really matter who speaks first technically. So in that style, you can get up and be like, I negate the topic. I don't agree with that at all. I don't whatever. And then somebody would come behind you and be like, well, I actually agree with the topic. Here are reasons why. So it depends on the land that you're in, right? Yeah. As what they say, as in Rome. So as in policy, do what policy people do. As in public forum, do what they do. As in Lincoln Douglas, just do what those people do, because you don't really have a benefit or a disadvantage from going one way or another, except for, it depends on the situation, but just go based on the rules and what they tell you to do. Okay, cool. So depending on what school, college, institution that you guys are going to be debating, does that determine where the debate is going to be held? Not or do you all have like a set location? That's fair, right? Gotcha. So because there are teams across the country, there are tournaments across the country, and the way that those tournaments get decided is as opposed to like sports, where it's just like we're hosting, or this is where the tournament is going to be at because this is who you're debating. Right. Different schools basically put themselves on a calendar to create a competitive opportunity. So different schools will host. And really what's funny about that is because hosting is such a big deal, and it's because it's a lot of work, right? You got different classrooms, you got different places on campus where these people got to be, you got to feed them, you got to clean up, you got to do a bunch of stuff to host a college debate tournament. Half the time, the kids at that school don't even get to compete in that tournament. They too busy running trying to get stuff together. They got to make sure rounds start on time. They got to make sure people know where they're going. They got to make sure people get fed. They got to make sure people have access to med stuff. They got to make sure they, hosting and hospitality is important. So they got to be going to get trash bags. I got to go get plates. I got to go get some water. Right. And so hosting is such a big responsibility and speaks a lot about your team and a lot about your program that typically, and sometimes it does happen where you're hosting and your students are competing at the same time. But for me, like as a director, like you might can't compete this weekend because I need you to go get the donuts real quick, right? I need y'all to to go clean up after lunch. Lunch was crazy. They left stuff everywhere.
Right.
So the way, just the general work that goes into it is not set up like that. Rather, like I said, different people will look at the calendar throughout the season, different universities, and will say, we picked the third weekend in September. Okay, we're going to take the second weekend up here. And what that does is just give students across the country a ton of opportunities to go and compete.
Oh, that's what's up.
I will say, though, it's kind of tiered, right? Because there are certain major nationals, right? There are certain just historically legendary tournaments that everybody wants to go to in order to have what we call head to head. So you got to go where the competition is if you want to qualify to championships. So once that schedule is out, there are about 6 or 7 what we call major national tournaments that everybody wants to go to because they want to prove that they the big dogs. They want to have head-to-head competition with the other big dogs who are trying to win or whatever. So you go to those tournaments. And then there might be like a regional tournament that's if the tournament is in LA and you live in Texas, you might go all the way for a major national because you want to compete. But if there's just a tournament in Fullerton, right, and it's just a regional tournament for the West Coast people, you might not come all the way from Texas to go to that one because your big competition is not going to be at that one. You're going to wait to
be in LA.
Or go to Harvard or something like that, or you're going to wait and go to New York because the big competition is going to be up there.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. So
and people travel that far to go to them tournaments.
Yeah. Well, a thing that people don't realize about college debate or literally middle school, high school, college debate is that they are supported close to on the same caliber as your sports teams.
It sounds like it.
We get travel budgets. These kids don't pay to participate 9 times. I won't say this is true for all students, but like on the college level, for example, it is very common for kids to not pay anything to participate on their teams, to get scholarships for participating on their teams. They literally stay in hotels for free. They eat for free. Like, we are a competitive team that goes around the country during competition. So what we do and what that looks like is not a lot different than your major sports teams and how they do their thing. I like to shout out my team because we are the only team in the country who is sponsored by a major airline. Honey, we fly for $0.00, right? We are sponsored by Southwest. Hello, somebody.
Right.
So there is a lot of money and resources, especially, and it changes from program to program. Some programs have more money, some programs have less money, some programs experience budget cuts on a regular basis. Some some squads have been completely wiped out because, for example, COVID ate up a lot of their budget money and stuff like that. So a lot of things changing on the terrain, but yeah, we literally hop around to different campuses across the United States and have debates.
No, that's super dope though, because I didn't know to the fullness of how big of a sport debate was.
It's a thing.
And I'm glad that I got a chance to talk to you because I got to dive a little deeper into it to get a better understanding of debate. Because I know as long as I've known you, that you have been doing this for a very long time. Okay.
I was the debate kid.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, have been doing this for a very, very long time. And just in case the people don't know, and I don't know if you mentioned this or not, but exactly how long have you been doing debate?
Shoot.
I know you mentioned you started in 10th grade.
Right. And so that would put me.
We're not gonna speak on age. We're not gonna do numbers.
No, we could do the numbers game. Because I think I might be 15 or more years in the game. I'm trying to think. Let's do it like this. I did it for 3 years in high school. I did it for 5 years in college. Right. I took the victory lap in undergrad. Shout out to Emporia State. So that was 8 years already. Then I did 2 years at Wake Forest University as an assistant coach while I was getting my master's. Right. They basically gave me a free master's degree in exchange for me coming to coach at Wake. So I moved out to North Carolina and did that for 2 years. So that puts us at 10 years just before I'm even graduated. Then I left Wake and went back to Emporia for a year because I got the job as a professor and the director of debate at my old team. So I got to go to my alma mater for a year. So that's 11 years. And then let's see, 3, 5, that's 8, 2 in grad school, 10, that's 1 year. And then I've been at Cal State Fullerton since 2015. It's about to be the end of another season. That's 8 years by itself. I've been in debate for 16 years.
That's a long time.
That's a long time. Doing that math
a very long time.
I shouldn't be old enough to have been doing anything besides living for 16
No,
years.
seriously though. And it just reminds me how long we've been out of school. And then it reminds us how long we've been living. Okay. You know what? I'm in my feels. I'm in
we
my
running
field.
we running the clock up, but we doing it the right way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that
Absolutely.
the beautiful part about it is I'm grateful every day for my chance to work with young people. I'm grateful
Yes.
every day for the chance to give, these young folks even an iota of the piece of the experience I had, being supported by my coaches, being supported by, my community in terms of DKC, being supported by my church, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
the debate things I was doing, and just being encouraged by different people to keep working and keep trying. And so the chance to regenerate that for other young people, running a team. And it's interesting because I coach debate. Like, so I coach debaters who have been in debate for as long, just like me, middle school, high school,
Yeah.
or not the gate, whatever. And then I also teach argumentation in a class. So these are students who've never joined the team, but
Yeah.
for 16 weeks at a time, get a little insight into argumentation, take a peek in there, get their feet wet in their first formal debates that they've ever had in their lives. And so I
Right.
get to work with a litany of students from different backgrounds, different experience levels, different interests, different majors. Some of these kids I never see again. They're like kinesiology majors. They're
Wow.
right. They're music majors. They're business majors.
Yeah.
I don't see some of these kids ever again in their lives, but I've sent them out into the world or into their disciplines with a better ability to make an argument, to defend a perspective, to advocate for something to change, and to identify and to be able to analyze other people's arguments. And that is important for whatever part of your life you're in. You know what I'm saying? So
That's dope. You
yeah.
know what? The next time I have a disagreement or something like that, I'm gonna just call, be like, let me call cuz she can better handle this for me, because I don't really, I need you to get the facts. Okay, so I'm gonna just
Give me a
call
little
cuz she's
context,
gonna
give me
let you
some
know.
details. Let me know if it's any insults I need to. I'm just playing. We ain't gonna throw no insults.
No, for real, because this is what I want you to say. But say
Listen.
it like this though. Okay, so
Gotcha.
my last question for you is: with debate being something that takes skill, with it being something that takes practice, understanding both sides, what skills specifically does it take to actually be a good debater?
Uh, that question is kind of hard to answer because there are many great debaters who have existed, but their greatness has come from different things.
Mm-hmm.
Has been a reflection of different skill sets. I'd say though, and with that being said, I think you got to be yourself, right? Like, I think when we look at the greatest debaters who have existed, when we look at people of note or people whom I can give you my top 10 list, all of them are different in
Yeah.
certain ways, but they all have the ability to be persuasive. And so when we think about what being persuasive is, it's really about finding the available means to persuade, right? What is the best way to say that thing? What is the best way to break it down? What are the best statistics and data and information and resources? What are you going to do with your voice? What does your presence represents, right? Are
Right.
you confident? Are you being humble and having humility? Like so many different things go into that. But I think the root of it all is confidence.
Mm-hmm.
To have something to say. Right. And I think that is the problem is a lot of people get free airtime. They, get a podcast mic. They ain't got nothing
Yeah.
to say, nothing of value, nothing that's making people better, nothing that's really changing,
Right.
for nothing that's asking bigger questions. So I think the bottom line and the first step to being a good debater or developing the skill is to have something to say. From there, explore different ways to organize and to formulate those perspectives so that you can be moving to a certain group of people. With HD, for example, I have a whole business. Like, I'm a professional speaker. I'm like, outside of what I do in the classroom, I literally have created a business that puts value on my words and thoughts and how I make a connection between the two, right? How I take what's in here, take this thing, smush them together,
And put it together.
People pay me money for the things that I have to say. I get paid money to tell people how to talk. But how do I do that? Or how did I get there? It was by taking things I was passionate about and organizing them in a way that's captivating for everybody from a 14-year-old to an organizational exec, right?
Yeah.
To city leadership and government agencies who I've done facilitation for, to administrators at universities, to people in communities and on the street, right? Who are doing the heavy lifting every single day to make sure our communities stick together.
Right.
All of them about leadership. And so I've had to take away or find ways to meet those audiences where they were, right? As AWOL would say, as Pastor Cummings would say, putting the cookies where the kids can reach them. Right. And I mean, I think that's the bottom line of it all, is taking whatever you want to talk about and what you're passionate about and using your words and your critical thinking to organize those messages in a way that captivate the audience you have been given, right? You do that, you on your way to being a
You
pretty
good to
debater.
go.
You know what I'm saying? Like, after that, it's just giving you a topic and get a chance to do a little bit of research. And then you'll be able to take what's there and build something beautiful out of it.
Mm-hmm. I like one of the keywords that you said about being a great debater or being just a great person that knows how to talk with dialogue in the first place is confidence. Because I think there is a blurred line when it comes to debaters, that they are not only argumentative, but they're arrogant.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that they think they know it all. When they simply are just, I mean, they know it all. Let's just keep it a buck. But they're simply just giving you detailed information about a said topic.
Yeah, and being combative about it all along the way. Like, you don't have to condescend to me. And that's the thing that I love about debate is that you got to be finesseful with how you get your, like, you got to, in debate, you got to earn the ability. Yeah, you want to put a little sauce on it, but you got to earn that. Like, you can't just get here and feel like you kind of coming at somebody's neck and talking crazy to somebody, but you won't have the rest of it. Those people get laughed at like, I was not persuaded. You actually lost this debate. I know you said with a lot of nerve and a lot of moxie, and a lot of gumption, but there are other things about how your argument coheres that are lacking. So whereas on the street, and this is a quote that I came across maybe a week ago, that really, it fell in line with everything I know about argumentation, is that you don't have to be right to win a debate, right? Especially, or no, you don't have to be right to win an argument, right? You do have to be right to win a debate. You don't have to be right to win an argument. In the arguments that we have as lay people in our regular conversations in our day to day, you don't got to be right to win an argument. You got to shout the loudest. You got to cuss the hardest. You got to be the quickest and have the most responses. You got to have the one-liners that everybody else are, and that's all you need to win an argument. You don't have to be right to win, right? But in a debate, there are certain things. There are what we call debate math that you got to do. There are some like norms, things that are standard that any judge will expect in order for you to be meaningfully be a meaningful participant. So I think debate ends up being the great equalizer, right? If you really about that, learn how to debate. You really think this is a good place to talk from? Learn how to debate. Right here. I say everything from here.
Okay. I mean, it'd be raised high too.
Hello, come to me. Right? That really starts to humble a lot of people and show
it does.
That in a heartbeat, you never know. Sometimes the mind and the mouth, you think they connected and they disconnected. You shook. Sometimes some people say some things and you just weren't prepared to think that fast. And a lot of people worry about debate and are concerned about it because they're like, I can't think that fast off the top of my head. And those skills come, but they come with development, with maturation. Because a lot of people with those one-liners, it's not a lot of depth there. It's not a lot of substance there. And if we were to slow it down and unpack something what they're talking about, it wouldn't be nearly as persuasive as they think it is, baby. So just because you got
got a little jazz,
not moved, under persuaded. You sound silly. I'm not gonna call you stupid. Not to your face, because that's rude. But I am going to demolish your argument, right? And that's why I tell my kids all the time, baby, you can get caught slipping at any time. So don't be rude, be right.
Like,
don't be rude, be right.
Yeah.
That's a much better feeling. And then when you've proven yourself, then you get throw a little bit of salt on it, get a little jazzy. But you have to earn that. Before you ever try to be rude with somebody, be right.
Wow.
Right? Then you'll have the justification and the credibility to come in with all that sauce.
Right. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure with you doing this almost 20 years, we're not gonna calculate.
Why would you say
almost you doing this almost, and the fact that we've been living longer, you know what, whatever. But the fact that you have been doing this for almost 20 years, I am pretty sure that you have seen people that have the finesse, the jazz in the beginning, and once they get into the class or get into the way that you instruct and give them the details of how to, argue the right way and debate the right way, that they completely just fall out of it. You know what? This thing for me, I think I need to go do something else because I thought I could hang, but I can't.
It's not even, I have that experience less so when people come into my class and more so when people in the class and I give them the opportunity to join the team, right? So I use my classes as a feeder for the debate team. If I open up the option and the invitation to everybody, if they want to join the team, to come and learn more about being on a competitive team. Like if you like arguing here, you might really like it in a team atmosphere.
Yeah.
But there are always also students who I'm like, I like that. I like what you got going on. You need to come be on the team. There are also students who are just like, I like this. I'm about to go join the team so I can I'm ready now. And I had I had a young man be on my team like that, where we had a great class together and it was cool. He had a lot of things he needed to grow from, and he was not one of those people who I was like, ooh, join the team, join the team. It was like, you're cool. We had a great semester, but whatever. At any rate, he was like, I really want to join the debate team. And when I join, because there are levels, like there's novice, there's junior varsity, and there's varsity debate. He was like, well, I'm going to join the team and I'm going to do varsity. I'm going to do my varsity and my first. And I was just like,
oh, he was ready.
And so you got to be careful as an educator. You don't want to break somebody's confidence,
right?
You don't want to. So you have to be careful how you respond in those moments. You don't want to yank the carpet from up under him. He's excited. He's confident. He's motivated. He's learning something new. He was reasonably successful about it. He was a vice president in class, always commenting, giving right answers and things like that. So I don't want to stunt your growth by, raining on your parade. But I would like, we're gonna have to
not yet.
Yeah, I mean, but like also I already knew it gave me all the vision I needed for the next season when he came to be like, yeah, I'm not gonna try to break you, but you're gonna be in for a rude awakening even without my help. And then I'm gonna have to go ahead and show you that this ain't that, baby. That I know you thought because you had a good time. The version of debate that you got in a 16-week course was called Debate for Dummies, right? This was called debate. Like you might have elevated to the 3rd grade of debate by the time you got to my class, but you don't know nothing because on the team, the novice debater, the worst debaters, well, not the worst, but the youngest, most underdeveloped debaters we have on our team are miles better than you from the time you spent in the class. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you do really have to take some time to be like, whoa there. Right? I know you feeling yourself, but the translation to this, baby, I'm giving you a teaser. I'm giving you baby steps. I took it easy on you. These kids who had this debate practice upstairs be up here for 5 hours, 6 hours on a Saturday afternoon, cutting cards and writing arguments and doing practice speeches and debating with their teammates and looking up the case list up there. But like, you're not.
So you all do practice your arguments in your debates?
Oh, 1,000%.
Wow.
1,000%. Debate practice, and the students who do the best commit at least 8 to 10 hours a week on debate. Right?
Is that a day?
No,
couple days a week.
A week. But let's say 7 days out of the week, the average college student wants their weekend to themselves. Or let's just say they give up one weekend day, right? You'll work on debate for 3 hours one day and for 2 hours another day. You might have a little drive-by work session, do an hour. You might turn around in on a Saturday or a Sunday and put in 4 hours because you about your craft, right? You really want to get good at this thing. So 3 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour, that's already 6 hours. And then 3 hours, 4 hours on the weekend. I done put in 10 hours to, just make sure my stuff is solid. Now, throughout the season, that might ebb and flow. That'll, wax and wane a little bit. But students who are really about this life are committing, I say minimum, if you're really trying to be competitive, 3 or 4 hours a week.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's dedicated. That's dedicated hours working with a coach, writing out arguments, cutting cards, rewatching game tape, listening to yourself, watching other people debate, watching YouTube videos, flowing like a bunch of different things.
Oh my gosh. Debating is like a job.
Yeah. I mean, but this is why I got a scholarship to do it.
Like you're working 8 to 10 hour shifts.
I couldn't put it to you like this, Shay. And this is, growing pains and life being hard, stuff y'all never even knew about because I'm 1,700 miles away in North Carolina, everybody in Kansas City. I'm sitting out up at Wake as an assistant coach, right? I'm no longer a student. I'm coaching, which takes just as much time. You're just doing different stuff.
Right.
Like, the student is working, you working. I was making $575 a month. I'll say it again. I was making $575 a month.
Say it loud for the people in the back.
$575 per month. My rent was $615 per month. Now we in North Carolina and Winston-Salem, so that's cheap rent, and this is back in the 20 teens. Right? But I'm still not bringing in more money than I am putting out just to pay. I have not talked about gasoline. I have not talked about the food that I eat.
Right.
So, and I'm working as a coach, and I'm in grad school too. So this is side by side with each other. These students who are debating are students too. They're not just debaters.
Correct.
Right? Just like we talk about athletes, they're doing double duty. Competition is 4 days long. We leave on Thursday night for early in the morning, Friday morning. We don't get back until Monday night, Tuesday morning sometimes. So think about how much I'm a coach, right?
Yeah.
But I have these same battles. I told you how long I'm gone. I told you how much prep time it takes to. Who McDonald's finna hire me with that type of schedule?
Right.
Who's Walmart or Target is finna let me work there?
Nobody at all.
Nobody's gonna hire me the second they start asking me. So I literally, right? I gotta get the scholarships.
Had to make do.
I gotta make do. I gotta do extra coaching jobs and work for high school. I'm in college trying to get high school jobs, work for high school team. Like, it's crazy. So yeah, just like other activities where they give up everything and have to surrender everything to really lock in for the opportunity that this activity can give you. It's important. But like I told you, I got a free master's degree. Right? I'm a first generation college student.
That's
you know what I'm saying? And graduated and went to Wake Forest, and they gave me a free. They said, we can't beat you. And we've been trying for 5 and we struggle with that.
So, okay. All right. We're just going to go put you on the team.
In exchange for a free degree.
Yeah.
Would you want to do? Are you interested in coming out? And so I was the first Black woman in the history of Wake Forest debate to go and be a coach on their team, because
that is such an accomplishment.
And I mean, a blessing. I made a little bit of history during my time.
No, that's a big flex, though.
It was a good time. It was a good time.
That's a big flex, though.
I'm the first Black woman in the history of debate to get what is called a first round bid to the national championship. So I'm the first Black woman in debate who basically demonstrated throughout the course of the season that I was one of the top 16 teams throughout the season.
Wow.
In the country. I was the first Black woman to, like I said, coach at Wake Forest, and only the second Black person. I was the first Black woman to be the director of debate at my alma mater at Emporia State University. So I went back home to ESU and ran that team. I was the first Black woman to do that, and I think the first woman director to run the team. And pretty sure I'm the first Black woman at Cal State Fullerton to coach this team too. And what's interesting about teaching in Southern California is that for a lot of my students, both on my team and in my classrooms, I'm the first Black teacher that they've ever had.
Like not professor, like teaching them?
Like kindergarten, like preschool through college. I am the first Black person that has ever been in front of their classrooms. I am very muchly so the first Black woman that they have had any type of the first Black woman that any of them have had any meaningful long-term interactions with. Like I've had, because I mean, most of my students are Latinx or Asian or white, right? I get Black students. Wow. But a lot of my students are not Black. I work at at the highest serving Hispanic school, or Latinx school in the CSU system. Wow. Maybe in California, but we serve the highest number. I'd probably say in the CSU, the California State University system, but we serve the highest amount of Latinx students, right? So I'm the first for a lot of people.
Oh my gosh. And you would think being in California is so diverse.
Yeah, but I live in Orange County, right? So I live.
You right.
I stay 15, not even 15. I stay 12 minutes from Disneyland. You know what I'm saying? Right. I stay in the suburb of LA. So when it comes to, I can get up there quick. We can get to each other quick, but where students are, where people are learning, where all that stuff is happening, for a lot of folks, I am a new experience in a lot of ways.
Wow.
And so
how does that feel?
More interesting. It's fun, right? I have a unique opportunity to reaffirm some things, because yes, Black people do look like this and act like this and talk like this and care. And so I'm a professional, so I know how to speak in professional spaces, but I don't do too much code switching. My professional voice still sounds very much like a white woman trying to speak to you. I mean, I'm a Black woman trying to speak to you about some things. So I'm not really with my teacher voice. You know what I'm saying? Like I still I'm from Kansas City. I don't sound like I'm from around here at all. You know what I mean? And they're from a mile away. So I'm able to be like, yes, this is how we really are. This is what we look like in these types of spaces, in these types of audiences, with these types of backgrounds, and with this
absolutely
whatever. But I also get to dispel some myths. I get to, shape and reshape some perceptions. I get to have honest and genuine conversations with these young people from the perspective of somebody who is living it, because I'm in an argumentation class. So where do you think I get my examples?
Exactly.
Right? I'm not talking about Johnny buying apples. Maybe I'm talking about what's on the news.
Right.
You an educated and research perspective on what's on your timeline right now. We got
exactly.
the same timeline.
You definitely do.
On the way in, right?
Yeah.
And so my job is to take those real life experiences and translate them into an academic context in a way that we can talk about what argumentation is at play and what's happening and the different facts and details that are shaping this topic at this time, and why we should reconcile these issues in this manner, in this way, right? Mm-hmm. I'm sewing together real life for these people, and so they get. I only got one brain and one mind and one set of experiences, so they getting my take.
Yeah.
you know, how things are, as objective as it possibly can be, but I can't cut off and tear off and turn off. It's me.
Exactly.
So you're also getting it from, you know, the perspective of somebody who, you know, is heavily invested in critical scholarship, who is invested in conversations about Blackness, about identity, about marginalization and erasure, about the way that the systems and structures around us are violent to each other, how we are violent to each other, how they're violent towards certain people. I'm having all those conversations with these young people. And
Wow.
I think it is refreshing as much for me to hear from them as it is for them to hear from me. Right. So
Wow. That's so amazing. Cause you's like super dope though.
I'm grateful. Yeah.
Always have been though. You always been dope.
It.
Always been dope. Always been solid. Okay, so my last question is for real this time. My last question.
It's cool. Let's talk. I'm enjoying rapping with you for real.
If it's a question that is maybe personal, like personal, not to you per se, but like a personal topic or something that kind of hits home, is it hard to debate about, or do people kind of get feathers ruffled because of the said topic? Either they can be experiencing it now, they know somebody who's going through it, but I mean, it's a topic that you have to debate because, like you said, we have to stay up to date on things. So was there ever a time in class when going over a topic or picking a topic where something has hit so close to home where it's uncomfortable to discuss?
1000%, right? And we encourage our students to lean into that discomfort, right? I think a lot of revolutionary moments, a lot of game-changing, shifting moments in our politics, in our communities, in our society, in this world happen from that discomfort. So I encourage people to lean into that and use it as an opportunity to say something meaningful about whatever it is that we're talking about. But certainly, right, when we talk about immigration, I teach in Southern California. You think all these kids is documented? You think all their mamas and them no, absolutely not. So when we're talking about what's happening in the state of Florida, where individuals who are found to be driving around an undocumented immigrant, or to have them living,
I heard about that.
Federal charges.
I heard about that.
Yeah. These are hot button social and socio-political issues. And I got students right in my classroom is like, I'm on DACA, baby. I ain't got no paperwork to be over here. I'm only in because of federal programming that allowed for me to have some type of pathway to participate in the society, because I came when I was 2. I didn't make no choice in this. I didn't have whatever, right? I'm talking to people who live in communities where, I mean, out here, it's homelessness is bad everywhere, right? It is terrible across this country. Uniquely bad here in LA and in Southern California. So we talk about homelessness, and you know, these people is talking about going to sleep in their car and not having, like, these kids, it's harder for these kids these days to go to school than it never was before. You want to look at somebody in college and say, just act right and do right, it's harder. Every generation is harder than the last. And so we talk about homelessness like it's them over there and they like, it's me right here, right? You know, like we talk about policing. I'm a Black woman in here trying to talk without my voice shaking. You know, when I give examples of police brutality or police defunding, or whether it's a good or a bad idea, and I'm talking about somebody who looked like me who's been brutalized. You know what I'm saying? So 1000%, we have conversations and discussions that might implicate these young people's real lives, or my real life, or our collective real lives. Pandemic, we up here trying to talk about, I'm making decisions as a teacher, like, do I even talk about, I don't know how many people have lost their family, done been sick themselves, dealing with long COVID issues. Maybe somebody lived, but they handshake a little bit more. They can't focus like they do. So do I have a topic about vaccines or about masks, or is that going to upset people or bring out the worst in people? And then we know everybody got a different take on that. Like, I've had to be very delicate and meaningful and intentional and mindful about how I deal with some of these topics, but I try not to shy away from them as much as possible, because they are the first thing you pull out and see as soon as my class is over anyway, right? So why not equip you? You going back to your house and you want to be on the right side of right. You want to be on the right side of history, but you nervous about sitting around that going back and forth with your auntie and them, your grandma, and like, I'm gonna put you on game. Let me give you let me give you some strategies, to give you some ways to have these difficult conversations. They're not going nowhere. They piling up. I don't know if you've been watching.
They are.
Like, life is a whole lot more interesting than it was 15
for real.
And we're trying to figure out whether it's just more access to it, like we just are constantly connected to devices and to the news and stuff like that. So is it that, not that it's more happening, is it just that we're hearing about it more, or is the world really just that crazy and taking off that much of this? And we trying to figure out one way or another. But I want to figure those things out with my students, right? We untangle and deal with that. And while we do that, I'm gonna teach you what a claim, a warrant, and some evidence is. You're gonna figure out what the tool and the model is. We're gonna understand the structure and the format of it. And we're gonna do all these things and overlay all this knowledge together so that you walk away being a better person than you came before you got here.
That's so dope. And I love the fact that you are the type of educator when it comes to debating that doesn't just want the student to get the essence or the finesse of debating, but to have an understanding of why and what you're debating about. And the fact that you got to have all the facts. Yeah.
Look at politics right now. It's a lot of people taking up space who just, you know what I'm saying?
They're just there.
Saying and being problematic and doing a whole bunch of nothing and talking about ain't trying to change nothing, trying to keep things. We got enough of them people, right? I don't need a show off. I don't need somebody grandstanding. I don't need I'm not interested. Yeah. I want to hear what you got to say and I want to help you say it.
Yeah. Now that's dope. Listen, you're dope, cuz. You're dope. You're really dope. You're really dope. Do you still actively debate now? Or do you just
anybody can get the smoke? Anybody get the smoke. However, I mean, unfortunately, after college, the only goals you either turn into a scholar that now produces work about the things you debated about, or you teach it and coach it yourself, or you become an educator or somebody who has now taken what we call portable skills, the skills that we developed here, and we take them out into the real world. So this is where you get your politicians, your community activists, your educators, your professionals, right? Who go into parts of society and go take the skills that they've learned and combine them with another discipline or another practice. But that being said, I'm never too far away from a timer.
Keep it handy.
I stay with what we call flow paper. You know what I'm saying? This is the long paper. They don't have this. You don't even got this. You don't even know where to find this paper and stuff.
Okay, come well equipped.
You know what I'm saying? Like we say, every good debater got 2 different color pens ready to rock and roll.
Wow.
It's never too far away. Never too far.
I mean, I'm saying. Anybody this topic for you one time. Let me go ahead and put a little sauce on it. That's
smoke,
dope.
You can get the smoke. My name is Toya Green, and I approve that message.
Period. Is there specific topics that you like to debate on more than others?
No. It's all about. I think it's fun. I mean, there are some international topics are difficult to talk about sometimes, but then it's all a question of how you get to the inroads of what you want to talk about, right? When we talk about international politics, there's still plenty of anti-Blackness and white supremacy going around on an international level.
Absolutely.
When we get to that level, it's still a question about how capitalism is moving and how money is influencing and dictating and determining different policy decisions. When we get to those levels, it's still going to be a question about the marginalized or the people who are the most vulnerable when we make decisions about what happens in the Middle East. Right. So you pick a topic. I'm going to find a way to talk about what I want to talk about in that thing. Just give me a minute. You feel me?
Absolutely. With your pen and with your 2 pens and your paper. Period. Okay. And the timer.
Hello.
Let's go. Okay.
You're not gonna talk over me when it's you're gonna shut up because it's my turn.
You're gonna watch this.
And when this is going, don't talk over me. It's my turn. You see what I'm saying?
So, let me say what I gotta say.
Hello.
Give me my time. Give me my time.
Hello.
Let me go ahead and run this so I can send you on your way.
Please.
Send you on your way. Okay, because before I let you go, you have a podcast of your own with 2 other individuals.
Just one now. Just one.
Oh, just one. So give us some info on that. Let the people know where they can find you, where they can listen to you. And then also give us some more information on your higher definition, just in case anybody wants to reach out to you for your services.
Got you. Well, the name of my podcast is called The Chop Up Show. It is
one of my favorite podcasts because they talk about some good stuff.
A period, right? We try to have an open conversation about a lot of things happening in this world. Really, the only goal, just like Black people be chopping it up, right? That's where the name came from. So The Chop Up Show is a chance for smart people who care about a variety of issues to get together, to shed light on them, to give some insight on them, and to talk about them in a way that's not just what you're going to get on your timeline. We always try to have some meaningful pivot or conversation about things. That way, we're not just giving you the news, but we're giving you a way to think about what's happening around you. So the Chop Up Show is anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can find it on Spotify. You can find it on Apple Pods. You can find it on Amazon. Just Google The Chop Up Show, Blog Talk Radio. We are internationally broadcasted. I think 10% of our listeners ain't even in the United States. So shout out to the UK, shout out to Canada, shout out to South Africa, shout out to Australia. We all over the place in a couple different continents. This is just really having a great time with the show. You can also catch us on YouTube. Every single episode we record live. So if you ever want to listen to the show live, Thursday nights at 7:30 Pacific. So it's for my late night folks. It's for the late night crowd. If you up a little bit 9:30 Central. But if you don't catch it live, just watch it on YouTube or listen to it on any of those platforms, and we'll have a great convo. Shout out to the other host of the show, the Political Plug, who is a great close friend of mine. We've been rocking since in high school. You might also, the third person is right there, Mr. Conscious Lee, right there. The Conscious Lee, who is a major figure on social media as a content creator, is doing great things all on TikTok, over 2 million followers, all over Instagram. That's still our brother. We have created what's called the Conscious Collective, where we're taking our skills and kind of branching them out in different directions. So if you want some great conversations about social issues, social perspective, political perspective, talk to the Conscious Lee. That's the Political Plug, and y'all know I'm Toya G on these platforms having these conversations. So we all over the place. Just look for the Chop Up Show. In terms of HD, higher definition leadership and empowerment coaching, doing some great things here. Just last week, was up at Western Washington University up in Bellingham, Washington, talking to the students there.
Oh, wow.
During their Scholars Week. So I had a chance to pop around to a women's gender sexuality studies class and talk about leadership. I then went and talked to the debate team about leadership. I then went over and talked to their Morse Leadership Institute about leadership, because they have a leadership minor there. You can actually get a minor degree in leadership now, right? And so they have a leadership program.
That's pretty dope.
It was great. And then I gave the keynote to the campus for Scholars Week. And it was phenomenal, met a whole lot of great folks. And that was a great experience. So I work with students K through 12. I work with post-secondary students on the college level. I am a partner professor for the city of Littleton, Colorado. So what that means is for the entire upper leadership of the city of Littleton, Colorado, I work and am a partner with their HR department to help do their professional development. So the same way, you do your cybersecurity trainings and you do your sexual harassment trainings, you can also do some leadership training for your people and making sure they're thinking about their leadership acumen and proficiency as they do their professional development. So if you want me to work with your organization, your company, your business, your group of people, your organization, your community organization, I'm all about literally like customizing programs and workshops and facilitation to specifically talk about the needs that your organization or your group of people has. So if it's a group of young people, group of college students, group of professionals, you should find me at higherdefinitionlec.com. Higher definition, just like your TV, your phone, whatever, your camera. And then LEC, higher definition, LEC.com. And I'll be right there to give you some facilitation, some information. You can also, if you're just looking for a good pick me up, it's all about empowerment. It's not just leadership, it's about empowerment too. So if you just need some motivation, go check me out on Instagram at higher definition LEC, or check me out on Facebook, higher definition LEC too. But connect with me if you are attempting to take whatever you got going to the next level. I'm trying to help you get there.
Absolutely. Listen, I love the Chop Up Show. I follow them on all socials. They're super, super dope. You definitely gonna get some laughs. You're gonna get some knowledge. You're gonna get some understanding, and you're gonna just overall have a good time, good interaction with them while they're going live. I listen to y'all on my way to work because I work nights.
My dog. Okay. I
got you good.
And I'll send you pop up in the chat. I'll send you pop up in the chat every now and again. Like it's a blessing to just even. And I mean, I've been doing the Chop Up Show for a long time too. Before podcast is podcasting. Before everybody's talking about one podcast,
right?
Let the record show. The Chop Up Show been on the mix since like 2016, 2017. So have definitely appreciated folks like you, my people's tapping in and listening in with me and just talking and going back and forth with me. So that means a lot to me, for real.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, listen, cousin, it has been a pleasure of having you take time out of your busy schedule, because I know you're super busy, just to come and hang out with me at the lounge to chop it up about debating. I learned a lot that I didn't know. I got a better understanding. You are just solid and a super dope person. Always has been, always will be. Continue to stay humble. And I am just praying God's best blessings on you, because he's really showing out in your life.
A little bit. I can't even hold you. I can't even hold
you. Flexing over there.
Listen, I mean, it's great to be able to bridge this gap, because I've always wondered, like, especially being the one who was out, and then I went out into the world a little bit. I don't get to come home as often, and I pop up when I pop up.
Right.
There's always a whole lot of love from everybody, and I'm so grateful for that. But I do be wondering, like, what do these people think I be doing when I just be gone? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, 6 months. You won't come home but once a year, and it's just like, that's because literally the season be from September to April. So
it's a long time.
Like it's tournaments over Christmas break. Like after Christmas, right after the New Year, it's usually a tournament 3-4 days.
I get right into it.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like I know I'm always gone. I know I'm here for a second and gone the next minute. I know you moved way over across the. I just and I've been so grateful that even away, I get to have conversations with people like you, you and the rest of our people, the rest of the fam. Every now and again,
Yeah.
me up like, "What's good, fam?" I'm like, "Bye, bye." And it's always a good chance just to reconnect and bring some stuff back together. So I'm grateful for those chances and for those moments and for moments like this where I can come on your platform. You've been building the Queen's Lounge for quite some time now, and really having some info. So I've been listening. I didn't listen then and peek then too. You know what I'm saying? Because
I appreciate that.
Keeping the footwork of what our people are doing and trying to support. And so I'm as grateful for it as I am for anything else. Just that people, my family is leaving some space for me and talk to them and holler at them real quick. So thank you.
Absolutely. Listen, this won't be the first or last time I invite you on the show. I got some other topics that I feel like you will be perfect for.
Let's talk.
So if your time frees you up, I definitely got to send you another invite to come chop it up with me and a few other people to do a like a panel type of podcast.
Love it.
Absolutely. Well, ma'am, is there anything else you want to say to the people before I let you go?
It's been a great time in the Queen's Lounge. I know y'all can't see it, but my crown is on. You can't see Dave's crown, but the crown is on. Mine is slightly tilted because I like mine with a razzle dazzle, little jazz.
Yes.
But I mean, life is good, God is good, and great things are coming. And so, that's it and that's all. I encourage you all to get the young people in your life connected to debate. I encourage you all to inspire them to get into things that they care about if it ain't debate. But remind our kids that it's all right to be passionate about something. I feel like these days it's not cool no more to go all out on nothing. It's not cool no more to just be into a thing and really like it because you like it. And with kids, it's just always like that. You don't want to be the person standing out or be the person that seems like, but encourage these young people to find a passion. Something they get excited on the inside and something they can run with. Because I never planned on this. Right. I never got into debate being like, I want to be a debate coach. I want to be a college professor. I really, honest to God, didn't. I found something that I was into. I got excited about it. I invested my time and energy in it. And then every step along the way, every step that led up to here has been God creating avenues and pathways when I wasn't certain what was next. I first generation college student. I didn't know. I just knew I debated in high school and that they gave kids money for that in college. I ended up getting a scholarship, going to do it in college, making money making more money off of it every year and having a phenomenal debate career. I graduated from college and was like, I don't really know if I should go to grad school. I don't know. I guess I'm going back to Kansas City, whatever. No. This man said, listen, you so good at this. And 5 other schools, by the way, I got a chance to choose. 5 schools wanted me to come and be their assistant coach. But I just chose one who had the most money, who had the better opportunity, who had the better sounding degree.
Right.
Got that degree for free. I graduated from grad school. Never expecting to do any of this. Never expecting to coach. And then all of a sudden, my coach was like, "Hey, I'm moving to Wichita. Don't want this job no more. You want it? You qualified. You capable. We like you. You're a leader. You've done a lot of things to exemplify that you're ready to take your own team. And for a year, I was the youngest director of debate in the country. You know what I'm saying? Like, 24 with the keys to my team. You know what I mean? Like, what's good? And it's all because I just stayed passionate and stayed in line. And kept doing things that put me in a position to succeed. Even when I didn't have all the answers, I didn't have a clear trajectory. I have always tried to do things to put me in proximity to opportunity. What happened? I was in Emporia for a year and was like, well, I've outgrown this place. I spent my undergrad 18 to 22, 23 there. It was like, I feel like I got everything out of this. And just happened to have lunch with a friend of mine who was a professor at a university up in San Francisco. He said, well, I got a friend down in SoCal who's looking for wow. And next thing I know, I'm getting a call like, we need an emergency hire. Would you like to move to California in a month? Sure. Why? Right. So, inspire your kids to get excited about something. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to have the perfect map to where you're going. You just want to put yourself in proximity to greatness. Get close to good stuff. Sometimes you don't even know the good stuff. You would do things to get you close to opportunity, even when you don't have the cheat code or have a map for it. And I think you'll be on the right track. So my parting words is just to get the young people in your life and you get excited about something too, right? Leadership is not a title. It's not a position. It's not a moment of elevation. Leadership is a personality trait. Either you got it. You know what I'm saying? Leadership.
I agree with that. I agree with that one.
It's leaders every single day who wake up and they live alone and they go to their job every day and handle it to the highest of their ability and they come back and in ways that I'm not going to preach about right now, but that is some of the best par excellence examples of leadership, because the true questions of leadership is what you're doing when nobody's watching you.
My goodness.
What leadership what does leadership look like when nobody's following you? Can you still be a leader? When nobody's like, when nobody is shaming you or thumbsing down, can you still stand strong in what you said you was gonna do? Like, that's leadership.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I ain't gonna go down a rabbit hole, but be a leader. Find ways to connect yourself with values and principles that really edify the life that you said you wanted to live.
Right.
As much as you can, invest in other people, right? I called it higher definition leadership and empowerment coaching. And people are like, girl, that's so long. Why? It's long. And I committed myself to it, being a communication scholar and knowing about marketing and but I had a commitment to a vision because I believe that there is an intimate relationship between leadership and empowerment. If one is a leader, they have to be able to empower somebody. If you're a leader, you have to be able to get somebody up and running, ready to run through a wall for the goals and the aspirations that they have.
Yeah.
But if one is empowered, they're more likely to lead. So you show me somebody empowered, you show me somebody who knows who they are, you show me somebody with a refined perspective and a mindset and a passion and a flame and some encouragement and some support, and I show you somebody who can take something and elevate it to the next level, right? Those are co-constitutive.
And make it work.
They're co-constitutive. They rely on each other, right? So we've got to put ourselves in positions to be empowered and to empower ourselves so that we set ourselves up to lead. Again, whole separate conversation for a different day, but find a way to push, find a way to push, find a way to do something different than what you did yesterday.
That's absolutely some great advice that I'm going to take heed to, because now that I'm 30 plus.
Yeah. I know it's getting harder to push and pull and stuff. When you get older, it's a little more difficult, but I still want you to try.
I'm going to do my best.
Don't you give up.
I'm going to do my best.
Don't you give up.
I feel like I need to find a new something in this new age that I'm about to hit. You know what I mean? Yeah. No, not OG. Nuh-uh. That's it. Just G. Just G. No O. No O. And sure. I'm still young adult.
Sure.
Yeah. Still young adult. If you are not, you need to be following the Queen's Lounge podcast on Facebook.com. You can find me wherever you listen to your podcast. I'm on all that. I'm on Pandora. I'm on Spotify. I'm on Castbox. Wherever you listen to your podcast, listen to me. Also, check out this newest interview that's going to be posted. Check out Cuz. And if you are interested in getting some higher definition, make sure you reach out to her, follow her on all her social medias, and let her get you together. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. On higher definition. Cuz, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
You will be hearing from me soon.
Madam.
All right. Peace out.
Yeah.